At least I'm not doing it the way I did it back in the medieval times. My head's not being chopped off. Thank you for coming out tonight. So I passed my PhD. I went and spent a week with family. Yay!
You look good.
And it, I'm telling you, Santa Claus was good to me.
Well, look at that.
That is fresh.
Isn't
That
that
is
cool?
fresh.
Isn't that cool? Check this out. Check this out.
All right.
Check this out.
Wow. Oh,
Then put that like that. Put that like that there. And you got the tag. Welcome to the way of mastery. Yeah, I'm telling you. All right. That was intense, wasn't it? I know. Ain't nothing like a black man in a hat. That's a whole cover. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. I saw it. Yeah, we'll be co-hosting on a radio show that's starting in January. That's on iHeart Radio, which is going to be. I mean, I'm not sure. I think that's what it is. But anyway, it's going to be called Wake Up in Love, and so I get a chance to do some more stuff there. And so when I went home, I had a chance to practice everything that we were studying, and just experienced more love than I've ever experienced with my children, my grandchildren, and with my family. Had an incredible birthday on Sunday. Again, I said that my mission was to go there to give and receive love. They go with my scripts about how I think people are supposed to be or how they're supposed to act in order to make me happy. And every time I feel myself come up with a script that would make me want to get into any kind of agreements, I'd catch myself really, really quick, because I'd learned that when I don't like the way I feel, I'm wrong, which is different from how most people do it. When they get upset is when they think they're the most correct, And so the Course has taught me that no, the facts of the situation might be there, but whenever you're feeling a lack of peace, then you are incorrect in the way that you're seeing. Because if you don't have peace, you can't deal with a situation correctly or at your maximum power, no matter what's going down. You need to be peaceful enough to get your guidance, know how to handle it. So when I say that whenever I'm wrong, whenever I'm upset, it doesn't necessarily mean that the facts of what's happening in that situation is wrong. It's saying my reaction to it is wrong. So therefore, I'm more likely to make a wrong choice because I'm all distorted in my perception. And so whenever that would come up, I would stop and I would breathe, and then I would remember to give what I want to receive. And so, which called for me to get into my own will and want to be happy more than I wanted to be right. So the thing about this class, as you all well know, is you don't have to believe it, you don't have to accept it, you don't have to welcome it. Some of it might be hard to believe, some of it might be quite startling. But if you use the ideas, you'll see that the ideas work. So we're going to pretend like we're more than what we've been taught we are. And just for 90 minutes, we're going to be willing to listen to stuff that we may not necessarily believe or agree with, and sometimes may resist. Is that okay? Yes. Okay, all right. So, so anyway, I had this incredible birthday that was mind-boggling in so many ways that I'm not going to get into really, really deeply. But last night was the thing that really tripped me out. My siblings decided that they were going to all come together. It's 5 of them. They're still in the body. 2 left the body. And said, they wanted to celebrate my birthday, so all of them got together, and so that's what I thought was happening anyway. And then when I got there, I had 40 relatives there.
Wow.
40, all ages, people I hadn't seen in years, and they pulled that together from that morning. Wow. It wasn't even like you had to let everybody know 2 months ahead of time. They were that willing to come and to acknowledge and to shoot out some good energy to me on my birthday, and it blew in my niece's brand new pizza place. So we just had pizza going out our ears, just all kind of pizza. She had every kind you could think of, only black folk have collard green pizza. put barbecue and collard greens. Real pizza. You know?
Soul pizza.
So it blew my mind, and just really, I can't even tell you all the things that happened that blew my mind. But I really was trying to practice everything that I'm talking in this class, and really trying to put it into action. And so tonight, that's going to be the subject of the section that I'm going to be doing, which is called Putting Your Purpose into Practice. And if you got the book, it's on page 317. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a paragraph, about 3 paragraphs right before that section that starts out with, what does this mean? And it's about 3 or 4 paragraphs up. And I'm going to go through it, elaborate on it a little bit, and then throw it open for questions and comments for a certain period of time, and then go further, so we can make sure we cover some material, as well as give everybody a chance to share the most important thing on earth, which is your opinion. So we want to make sure everybody get a chance to hear your opinion. You know, that's what makes the truth what it is. Is right? Okay. He says, first, anyone who truly enjoys the way of knowing, there are 3 paths. The path according to the Way of Mastery book: the way of knowing, the way of the heart, the way of transformation, and the way of knowing. And let me put this over to the side so I can use my high-tech stuff. Okay. So the way of knowing must make anyone who truly enjoys the way of knowing must make a decision to accept the atonement, which is the correction of error, for himself or herself. So if I want to be on the way of knowing, then I must be willing to accept correction for myself. I must be willing to accept correction for myself. And so this is the statement that you want to say. I am one with my Creator now. I choose to fulfill my purpose by extending only the reflection of myself, and I am but love. And that's what happened. Every time I feel my ego come up, a part of me that wanted to start judging or criticizing, I had to say to myself, I choose to fulfill my purpose by extending only the reflection of myself, because I am but love. Because I made the decision I was no longer going to live my life looking for everybody around me to give me love before I give them love. I was sick of that. You know, always trying to wait till somebody give it to me, then I'm going to give it back to you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, I'm going to get what I want to receive. I'm going to be what I want to have. I'm going to attract to me what I want by being it. And so even though my ego comes up and tries to tell me to judge and criticize and condemn, I choose to fulfill my purpose by extending only the reflection of myself, and I am but love. Now, what's really protective about wanting to extend love is that those who don't want to extend love and who are very frightened and guilty and maybe are not loving themselves the way that they should, they're not attracted to people who are loving. Generally speaking, they avoid people who are loving. They don't consciously make the decision to do it, but their own sense of unworthiness keeps them from being attracted to people who are kind and loving. So the more kind and loving you are, you really are kind of like a turnoff to the people who would be harmful, fearful, and afraid. They're just not moved by you. They love drama. They're addicted to drama. They're addicted to rejection. They want who they can't have, what they can't have, and what's unavailable. So second, anyone who would enjoy the way of knowing must also look and embrace the very fact that their attention is involved in the world of space and time and the world of the body itself. So if you want to be on the path of knowing, it's really important to know that your attention is involved in this world of space and time and in the world of the body. The way of mastery says that we're in the world of the body. We're in the world of space and time. The incredible premise of this book, which is kind of really out there, is that basically we are consciousness, we're mind, we're spiritual beings that are functioning through physical bodies. And we've forgotten that we're more than just our physical bodies. And so those of us and those parts of us that are beyond the physical bodies, we're being guided and we're being helped and we're being made aware of who we really are, because we've forgotten who that is. It's a far concept, but it's really fun to even play with the idea that you might be more than a body and you might be more than what you think you are. And you could be this unlimited being that's creating your reality, and that you're not a victim of anything that you're going through, and that you live beyond your physical body and you're totally innocent and juicy and sweet. Now that's another way to look at it. And there's a whole world that goes with that. So it says, but in the way of knowing, the world of space and time is seen differently. So we in the world of space and time, he says, but you're going to see it differently. The world is seen as something that exists external to the mind itself. The world isn't seen as something which has not as something which has a power over the mind, or something to be feared, or that one must be confronted to. The world is seen as something that exists external to the mind itself, not as something which has a power over the mind. In other words, once you become more conscious and more awake and more enlightened, you know that the world does not have power over your mind. You know that the world isn't something to be feared. And even more important, the way a master says, you recognize that the world is not something that you must be conformed to. And I love that I don't have to be conformed to the world. As a matter of fact, that's the key to happiness. That's the key to joy, is not being afraid to be that unique being that you are, that individual ray of love that no one can do it just the way you do it. Because you have no competition, because there's nobody else exactly like you. That one love that we all are is coming through you in a way that it'll never come through anybody else. So we don't have any competition. That's a concept that is not true. Now, if you're trying to be somebody else, there might be some competition involved. But if you're being true to yourself, there is no competition involved. And so, rather, the things of space and time are seen and embraced as that which is given to the Creator, to the Son, to the daughter, in order to be utilized as devices for assisting Christ, which means the true self, to extend love. It doesn't matter whether it's a pencil or a computer or a trip to your grocery store or a party in which you invite your friends to come and play. All things finally come to be seen as having only one purpose, the extension of love. Whether you're King Super, you're there to extend love. Whether you be partying this weekend because the holidays are coming up, your purpose is to extend love. If you're inviting your friends to come and play, it's to extend love. It doesn't matter what it is. I only have one purpose and you have one purpose, to extend love. And the way of mastering the Course in Miracles teaches that love is freedom. And that's a very important distinction to make. That when you say that you love somebody, you really, from the perspective of this material, is talking about you are willing to free somebody. And that's the opposite of what we've learned love to be. Usually when you say you love somebody, then you got a bunch of scripts and you got a bunch of limits and you got a bunch of boundaries and you got a bunch of expectations. That's why the average person, when you tell them you love them, they kind of get spooked, because they know that usually a lot of demands and scripts come along with that. So it's easier for me to love you if that means free you, because then I don't have to do anything to you. I can let you be. And that's loving you. That's different. And that's easy. See, so it would be a lot easier for you all to just let me be than it would be for you to try to control me, which is what we've been taught to think that love is. So love is freedom. Love is not controlling someone or something, unless you're afraid that you're going to lose them and that it's not real, or unless you all decide that you want to play the game of controlling and possessing each other. It goes something like this. I know that you're totally and completely free, and I'm going to love you regardless, because there's going to be unconditional love, because I choose you to have your freedom, and you say I choose to have. Now, let's play like we possess each other. So I'm just going to be with you, and you're just going to be with me, and you're not going to kiss on nobody else but me, and I'm not going to kiss on nobody else but you, and we're going to play that out and see what it feels like to just be focused in on each other and nobody else. Now, that's playing possession. Playing possession is cool because you're choosing to do it of your own free will, which is different from you really being serious about, I really do possess her. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. You know, and so just don't fool yourself, because you never can really own and possess or control another being. And even if it looks like you are, they're just giving you that power temporarily, provided you act right. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. y'all know I'm telling the truth. You know, so even if they go, yeah, baby, I do whatever you want. Yeah, that's just as long as you acting right. As long as you doing the thing that they want you to do, the way you know, don't fool yourself, man, because your mind will tell you really got power over them, and then they'll take that power back and freak you out. You know, so I you know, it's like I have to remember that all the time when I'm in special relationships, that all the specialness is a gift. It's not real love. It's just a gift. It's just something. It's a bargain. It's something somebody's giving you temporarily. But love, if you really love somebody, you can't help it. You can't really control it. If you can control it, it's probably not love. That's deep, isn't it? But it also brings a natural desire to protect and support. So it's not the same thing as I love you and I want to hurt you. So that's why it's okay not to be in control, because you're not going to try to hurt anybody with the love anyway. So putting your purpose into practice. Imagine a business person sitting down to negotiate the closing of a deal, who goes to the part of the mind that is sane and says, what price should I place upon this land that I'm about to sell to this other corporation? He says, while his accountants and realtors have been telling him that the property is worth $1 million, he goes within, and the answer comes from within, asks only $250,000, and asks that another $300,000 be donated to such and such a charity. Now, in your world, which is the world of insanity, the businessman would say, oh, no, I can't do that. I can't listen to that voice. So he went within, asked what to do, and he was told to give $250,000, to ask for $250,000 and to donate $300,000. And then he says, oh, no, I can't do that. I can't listen to that voice. So sometimes you will hear the answer that will come from your own inner guide, and it will sound like something totally opposite to what the world would be telling you to do. And so, but in the way of knowing, in the way of enlightenment, the businessman smiles and says exactly what was received. So notice that even though it was a businessman dealing with regular stuff in the world, that still didn't stop that being from coming from a conscious place, turning within, asking for guidance, and listening to what his guidance is saying. So the physical world, the world of business, the world out there is not separate from our spiritual world. It's the same thing. You're gonna apply the same attitude in every area, which is what? I'm gonna ask, I'm gonna take a moment, I'm gonna look within, I'm gonna ask for guidance, and then I'm gonna go for that guidance. But how can you tell whether or not the voice that you're listening to is your guidance? Well, one of the ways is that it's going to be a voice that's going to make you feel lighter, and it's going to make you feel more peaceful, and it's going to ultimately be a voice that's, like he said, extending some kind of love or some kind of peace. So if you're listening to a voice and you're feeling guilty, or you listen to your inner voice and you're feeling more afraid, any of that stuff, that means that there's a block between you and hearing your own inner guide. You know, we all have inner guides, but we're trying to make it up as we go along. And since we're trying to make it up as we go along, generally speaking, that's where the fear comes in. The fear is coming about because you're listening to yourself, but not listening to yourself. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's like the average person is busy trying to make up what they think is going to make them happy. Then they make up how they think they're going to get it, and then they try to get everybody to act out the roles that they've decided that everybody should act out in order for them to have the thing that they want. And then they hold a grievance when people don't act out the role that's been assigned. So most of the time we're trying to forgive people for not letting us control them. Okay. Think about it. We're really trying to forgive them because they didn't act the way we wanted them to act. They didn't do what we wanted them to do. So actually we always do, in most cases, we're trying to forgive people for not acting out our scripts. So really, is that really what they're supposed to be doing anyway? Am I really born just to act out your script? Of course you know that's not true, but don't we act like that a lot of times? No, you know we do. You know that, and so the more that I wake up, the more I realize that spirit knows who would naturally do the things that I would love without me having to convince them to do it. So I still could have the things I want, but I just have to learn how to let the part of me that knows where the people in the situation are located that would allow me to have it to show up. The problem I used to have was I would pick out the person that I wanted to do whatever I wanted them to do, and if they didn't want to do it, I'd try to figure out a way to get them to do it, rather than asking for what I wanted and then allowing the universe to send to me the person that would naturally want to do that, even if they never met me. You know, if I like chocolate cake, you know, like my daughter-in-law asked me what was my favorite cake, because she was going to fix me a birthday meal. It was all my favorite stuff, and I told this kind of cake my mama used to fix. It used the yellow cake with chocolate icing. I don't know if y'all ever seen one of them. That's some good stuff, you know. And so she volunteered to do it. And then my little 3-year-old granddaughter was, and she asked her, she picked. She was like hanging granddad. She could hang granddad. Granddad, you gonna eat that? You want some cake? All right, I'm ready for you. I'm ready. We're gonna do it, right? So I come back downstairs because I'm staying at my son's, right? And my daughter-in-law, who's just like daughter, she's so cool, ridiculously cool. She had on a chef hat, and she had on the apron and everything. I mean, she was serious. She was getting ready, she was getting ready to do it, and so did my granddaughter. She had a little chef hat and the apron too. It was so sweet, you know what I'm saying? It was like, oh, they fixed me like the perfect cake. The cake was so freaking good. You know, and so what I'm saying, I made that decision to extend love no matter what, and every time I would make that decision, some other loving thing would happen that I wasn't expecting. So I had to remember constantly that what I needed to do was continually express my gratitude every moment I possibly could. You know what I'm saying? And just really let them know how much I appreciate it, you know. Really grab them and give them a kiss, you know what I'm saying? It's like when my daughter came over with her husband, they brought me some really cool stuff, and I was really touched, and I kissed her on the head, then I kissed him on the head, kind of tripped him out, you know what I'm saying? And then I said, oh yeah, but what about them Broncos? You know what I'm saying? Because after I kissed him, we had to go back to our man. I don't know a whole lot about sports, but I hope the Broncos beat the Lakers. That's all I got to say. You can tell I'm up on it. I'm up on it. So, oh yeah, well, I got everybody in here. Now, there won't be another class until January 14th, which is Tuesday, January 14th, because next Tuesday is what, Christmas Eve, and then week after that is New Year's Eve, and then I'm going to England for 2 weeks, and so then I get back in time enough to come back and do the class. So,
what about your Sundays?
Sundays, I'll be here this Sunday and the following Sunday. I think 22nd. Yeah. Well, no, I just be next Sunday, but not the following Sunday. Anna's gonna cover for me when I'm not here, but I'll be doing one more class this coming Sunday at 1:00. Course in Miracles. If you have not been to one of my Course in Miracles classes, you might want to check it out. It's awesome. So I just want to take a minute to tell you how much I appreciate you. How much I appreciate you being here. I hope if you haven't put your information on here so I can let you know what's happening when I come back and when I'm not here and everything. And I also record these classes and send links to them so that you can watch them on YouTube also when you're on my mailing list. Or you can go to my website, earlpurdy.com, and do the same thing. Okay, so we getting ready to go into the holidays where you're going to get a chance to check out and see how well you're doing and whether or not you get your PhD. You know, but if you remember that you're there just to what? Extend love, right? So when you feel your irritation coming up, just remember to breathe. Try not to say anything and breathe, especially when you're feeling that irritation, that twinge of guilt, that temptation to attack. You go, because remember, it's not really that important that you let somebody know that you think differently than they do. That's kind of like our ego anyway. You know, it's like, I just got to let you know I don't agree with your point of view. What you want to do is you want to listen with, what are you saying about anything I can agree with? Where can we join? Not I'm going to focus on how we can separate and how we're different. Because most people try to establish their individuality by always being the opposite of whatever they see or hear. But what they're really trying to do is establish that they exist. And they do that by trying to be different from whatever they see. So as soon as you say something, they got to point out how they don't agree, because they're trying to establish their own individuality. But once you're whole and complete and you become comfortable with who you are, you lose all of that desire to defend, because there's nothing for you to prove, because you're okay. You know, it's all good. You don't have to look at it the way I look at it, and it doesn't matter if I don't look at it the way you don't. And so you end up having these incredibly peaceful experiences with people that you used to stay irritated with. And they'll start being interested in your opinion. This the funny part about it is the once you stop defending, then you'll see an openness usually in them that you never saw before. So in the way of knowing, he says, in the way of enlightenment, the businessman smiles and says exactly what was received. When the shock on the other person's face settles down, they will be quite happy to know that they have saved a lot of money. For in their world, they think that the only way to have is to possess. But in the way of knowing, which means in the way of reality, the only way to have is to give. So when you're a conscious person, you know that the way that you have is to give. When you're not conscious, you think the way to have is to possess. He says, now you are like that businessman. You abide in the world in which the business of your reality is to extend only love. Be you therefore not afraid of the world, for when seen through the eyes of the enlightened soul, which is a soul that accepts his oneness with God, the world of space and time is perfectly benign and has no purpose whatsoever except to serve Christ, which is the real love in the extension of love. Of course, the way of Master's definition of Christ is your true self, your real self, who you really are, and your truest nature is love. So if you're enlightened, then you're actually beginning to see the world of space and time is perfectly benign, and that, again, that your only purpose is to show up in it to be some kind of expression of love. He says that's why anyone who comes to answer only the voice for love miraculously finds that the universe comes to support that one in ways that the egoic mind can never understand. In other words, when your only purpose is to extend love, you will find yourself taken care of in ways you can't even comprehend. You'll start to see things start to work out for you in ways that would freak out people around you as well as you. The once you make the decision that you want to be the voice for love. Then it says, miracles do occur as creation flows from a mind unencumbered with the pressures of trying to make life go the way it thinks it needs life to go. So, how do I have a miracle? I let go of the pressure of always trying to make everything go the way I want it to go. When I'm no longer trying to make everything go the way I want it to go, he says that is when you have miracles start to occur. So we're actually being told how to have miracles of healing if we choose to. He says, and here we begin to touch upon the essence of my teaching, which is I need do nothing. Now, that's not a passive state, okay, of just accepting the fact that I need do nothing. So I just show up and I follow my impulses. I'll not think too deeply or wonder what I'm doing. I really don't need to do anything since none of it matters. That is not what we're talking about at all. I need do nothing and I don't need to do nothing because none of it matters. What I need do nothing means is to actively to learn and master the art of you need do nothing. And what does that mean? That means you need to find that spaciousness within you in which you are willing to allow that voice within you that is eternally connected to your source to be the vehicle through which you receive your guidance in the pure recognition that you have no purpose save to extend love. Okay, so I need do nothing means that I need to create a space within me that I learn to listen to my own internal guide. And in the recognition that I'm here to extend love. So I need do nothing is really, I am finding a space within me to let the divine within me guide me in my purpose of extending love. That's what I need do nothing means. Not it means I'm going to sit around and not put any energy out in my experience and just kick back and don't do anything. But it means I, little me, need do nothing. Because I'm going to learn to listen to the greater me and let it tell me what to do and how to respond. So how can you tell if you're not listening to the greater you, the divine you? Well, possibly you're not having a really good time. You're possibly not really enjoying your life, and you're suspicious, and you're afraid, and you're feeling guilty, and you think there's lack, and you're trying to get any little bit of love that you can get hold to, and you got grievances. And so if that's happening, there's a possibility that you're not listening to your greater self yet. You haven't heard it yet. Okay, throw it open. Any questions, any comments about anything that I've said so far? I just want to share a thought or something that's come up for you.
Where does stress figure in? Yeah, I feel like my stress level gets high for certain reasons, and then it gets triggered, and then I just go insane, kind of like do insane things when I'm stressed out.
In other words, you act like a regular person. That's what you said. But let's put on the way of knowing cap. See what happens. Stress is any perceived threat to your ego's existence. The purpose of stress is to make you think you're not the unlimited being that this book is saying that you are. So stress is actually a defense against the new love and the new truth that you're learning. So stress is just an ego protection. I'm going to go insane, I'm going to go crazy. That's because the sanity of the love that we're hearing about, the part of us that's afraid to love and doesn't believe we deserve love, and that feels safer being afraid of people, then we need a justification for that. So if I can keep my fear going, I can keep my justification for not really opening up and letting the love come through. Because the stress is the ego feeling threatened according to this. It's a trick to make you think you couldn't be that whole peaceful person that the book is talking about, because you're under stress, which also means that you're dependent on your own strength separate from spirit. That's why you're stressed, because I got to handle it. See? So stress is also coming from not trusting in source. Does that make sense?
So can yeah, kind of.
Yeah, it's really there. Okay, there's an old me and there's a new me that I'm trying to express, right? The old me doesn't want to give up the ghost. It's used to being in charge, right? So therefore, it's going to try to keep you still afraid through some kind of stress, so that you'll stay the fearful person that doubts that you've always been. So it's just a trick to make you think that you can't have the peace that these books and these paths are teaching us, because if I'm still stressed out, then it looks like this is just a whole lot of fairy tale stuff you're talking about. So the purpose of that is to make us doubt what we're hearing, so that we can stay the way we always have been. Because we know our way around our fear. We know how to be suspicious. We know how to be in our own little cubicle and not really extend to each other and not love each other. And I'm talking about being open. I'm talking about being vulnerable. I'm talking about trusting. I'm talking about giving up some love. Fearful people, that's the most terrifying thing you can say to us. So we've got to keep some justification for staying suspicious and afraid. So we'll hear stuff like this and then go do things that frighten ourselves, or go get in a relationship that's hell, or go pick a job that doesn't make us happy, because that'll keep the old thought system going. I can't be happy. I can't have peace. So if you just call it a trick, like if you would reduce everything that I've said to, it's a trick. My stress is a trick to make me think that I can't have peace. And you just stay only with that statement, you transform your stress. Just give it a shot. Now you get ready to say.
Oh, it's just so hard for me to formulate it. But if you're trying to follow this truth and you're trying to trust in the guidance, but it scares the crap out of you to do what it says to do in the book, is it still going to work if you're doing it and you're afraid of what you're doing?
Well, if it's a difference between being afraid of what you're doing because you're finally trying to trust for the first time, and just being afraid because you're in danger in some way, or it might hurt you in some way.
Right.
But the only way that you'll ever get to the point that you trust your guidance will be to go ahead and follow it sometimes when it seems like it's insane to do it. And then you, after a while, begin to see, everything inside of me a few times over the last week was telling me to feel defensive, to attack. But my inner voice was saying, no, if you're upset, you're not seeing it correctly. So when you walk in that door, you walk in the door saying, I'm gonna express gratitude and love. Now that was totally opposite to what my ego wanted to do at that moment. but I did it anyway because that's what my path had said. And see, to me, that's why you need a spiritual path, whatever that is for anybody in here. Because what happens is, once you get a spiritual path, you can compare what's happening and your guidance to what your path is telling you. And that way you can just learn to discern between when you're making up an answer and when your answer is really coming from your higher self, until you get to the point that you have gotten so used to following the guidance that you don't necessarily need the book in order to get it. You know, in other words, like the Course in Miracles says to me, when you're upset and you're angry, this says to me, well, then what you're really feeling is a deep call for love. Okay, and your number one priority is not to attack. Well, then, if that's what my path says, and I'm feeling the strong desire to attack and go off on somebody, and then I'm asking myself, is that my guidance? Then I could say, well, what does the Course in Miracles or the Way of Mastery tell me? Well, it's telling me that fear is a call for love, and I need to ask for another way to look at it. So that's what I do, because I have a path that I follow that's telling me what to do in these situations until I get to the point that I know how to make these choices without looking at the book. But when you're making up your own path as you go along, you're going to choose the stuff that corresponds with your ego and what your ego already likes, and then you're going to disregard the stuff that would change you, because that's going to bring up resistance because you got to do something different. And that's the danger of making up your own guidance, is that you're going to always slant it in the direction of what it is you personally prefer and not necessarily what's best for you. You'll come up with a reason to make it okay, even if it's not, when you're making up your own path.
So I thought of a good example, like somebody who has a good job, but they hate it, and they're feeling that their guidance is telling them to quit their job and just go do something crazy. And so they're terrified to leave the security that they perceive that they have with this job and go off and do something where they have no idea what the source is.
Well, if a boy is told, if I said I hated my job, and which I did, you know, before I did this, but I realized that my number one priority was not to increase my fear. So even if I was going to leave the job, if I left the job that I hated for nothing at all, that I didn't know what I was going to do, but I hadn't really developed my faith yet. How do I know I haven't developed my faith? Because I'm scared to leave the job, okay? And I'm scared about following the guidance. Then I personally wouldn't make the move until I was feeling some peace about it. But when I left my regular corporate job to start doing the stuff that I'm doing right now, not even knowing what my income was going to be every week, I had developed enough faith in the spirit and in the truth through my study and my work that I believed that I was going to be taken care of no matter what, if I was fulfilling my function, which I felt was to teach and to share. So I think that when you are going to just quit something because you don't like it and you don't have any idea about what it is you'd like to do, I think that's your ego. Because you would be you already are angry because you're on a job that doesn't feel like it's fulfilling your passion, right? So why leave to go to void? I can see you leaving because now you've already always felt this desire to be an artist, and you're finna really devote yourself to being one. Or you always wanted to be a musician, and now you got a plan for what you're gonna do to start playing music and learn how to do music. Or you see what I'm saying? You would be going, I'm gonna let this thing go, but I'm gonna move in the direction of my passion. I'm gonna move in the direction of the thing that really turns me on. But most people aren't doing that. They just I don't want this job, and so they quit, and then they end up freaking out because now they don't have a job and they don't have no money. And so now they're more afraid than they were when they actually had the job, you know, which is different from, I'm going to leave this job, but I got a plan. You know, I got an idea of the direction of what I want to go in. So the number one thing is try to make your moves from a place of peace instead of making your moves from a place of fear. It's what I'm basically saying, you know. And not just because I don't want this, but I have no earthly idea what I should be doing. But I will say this though, if you're doing something that you hate, you do need to get away from it as soon as you can possibly do it. Whatever it takes for you to get to the point that you feel okay about making that move, you need to get out of there. You do not need to be doing something every day that doesn't thrill you and doesn't excite you. It's for as short a period of time as you possibly can. It kills your spirit. makes life not worth living. We're not here to live for security. You know, especially those of us who are weird like us.
Yeah.
Y'all know we don't fit in no kind of way. You know what I'm saying? We're not, because we're not here to.
Yeah.
That's not why we were born. We weren't born to do it the way it's always been done. That's not why we're here. You know, that's why we couldn't fit in that way. You know, we know that we have something else to offer. Yeah. Anybody else? Before I go on further? Everybody cool? I'm going to take off the hat of knowledge. Put it back over here. I'm dumb now. All I can do is read. Okay, here we go. Now, it's not your purpose to survive as a body and a mind. It's not your purpose to keep the same house you had for the last 20 years. It is not your purpose to be in relationship with this person or that person for the entirety of your life of the body mind. You're not here so you can be with somebody for the rest of your life. He said it's not your purpose to accomplish great things. It's not your purpose to be wealthy. It's not your purpose to do anything except to be that conduit through which love and freedom extends itself. That's very different. You know, my purpose isn't to be wealthy. My purpose is to be a conduit for love. That's it. That's the only reason why I'm here. The very thing it looks like I haven't been that successful at. Yeah, you're asking me to be the thing that I feel like I don't do as well as I should or as much as I could. I can see where that would be frightening to somebody. The average person would think their purpose is to find that certain someone that they can spend the rest of their life with. Or I can totally remember when I was all about going to be a millionaire. You know, it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to be a millionaire. You know, I remember all about my sexual fantasy. Oh yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to learn how to astral project so I can see somebody naked in the shower. I didn't have the highest thoughts for my psychic development. So if you feel me in your shower tonight, sir, things all right.
But you can leave your hat on.
You see the hat? You see the hat? You just see a hat. You know it's me. I just wash it back. Goes for the guys too, by the way.
That's nice.
So, as you come truly to allow love to be your greatest beloved, I like that. As you come truly to allow love to be your greatest beloved, as you set aside all other idols. What's an idol? An idol is anything you put before your peace. That's the definition of an idol. It's anything you put before your peace, you know, which is the need to hold onto the house. Like I know people who are like miserable, but if they didn't have that house, they would immediately be okay because they wouldn't be under the stress that they're under to try to pay for a house that they can't afford anymore. But the house is their idol, so they'll hang on to the house even though letting the house go would actually give them a lot more peace. The people do the same thing with a relationship. I'm determined that I'm going to have this relationship even though it's the most stressful thing that I've ever done because the relationship is my idol. It's more important to me than my peace. So that's a great definition of an idol. It says the need to have certain people in your life. As you come to see that all of that is part of the world of illusion, as you come to love, you will come to love yourself. For you are love and only love. And you come to love. So my beloved is love. The more and more I will discover that I am guided on a path of miracles in which more power seems to be getting extended through you. So the person that's decided they're going to be a means for freedom of other people and themselves actually finds more power starts to be extended to them, through them, and they have much more power and much more magnetism than they've ever had in their life. You will begin to witness that the universe seems to support you more and more in ways that you could have never imagined. Wouldn't it be great to see yourself doing what you love to do and being peaceful and loving every day, and at the same time you're being supported in ways that you couldn't have ever imagined? I mean, doesn't that sound cool? That you would get up every day and you would do what you love to do every day, and you were taken care of completely. That's what a spiritual path offers you. That's what a path of higher consciousness offers you. It allows you to get in the flow of the universe so that you can be supported in ways you never dreamed of. What would it be like to be in a relationship with somebody that the way you are is perfect for them? Exactly what they need and exactly what you need for your own growth and your own happiness. Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah. That's what happens when you tune into the universe, when you want to be a conduit more and more and more and more. That which you deserve comes to you, but it won't come to you until you're ready for it in a way, because you're going to screw it up if you're not. So I really don't want stuff to show up before I can really receive it and let it in, because I've had some really cool things show up in my life that I was not emotionally and mentally prepared for, and I didn't take advantage of it, or I sabotaged it. So I really don't want to do that anymore. So when I think I want something and it looks like it hasn't showed up yet, either it's not for my own best interest, or I haven't gotten to the point that I can receive it yet. And so I give myself some peace about that, because either one of those perceptions would be helpful. Either I'm not ready for it yet, or it's not for my own best interest yet. So it takes pressure off, right? He says, out of that, being supported in ways you could have never imagined. It says, out of that, you might indeed see the life of the body-mind changing. See, so in other words, because you are beginning to want to have the love or the truth extended through you, and then the universe begins to support you in ways you could never have imagined, he says, then, just because of that purpose, you might actually see your life in the body changing. In other words, the car you drive may end up actually being that dream car that you always wanted. Or the home you live in might just end up being the best home you could have ever imagined that you could have had, just because now you're ready to fulfill your purpose, to be love on the planet. He says the quality of the beings that come into your life would change just because your purpose is so cool. I mean, look at the quality of the beings that are in my life. I'm talking about you, by the way. Okay? When I say look at the quality of the beings that's in my life, you know, as y'all good-looking bunch of folk, y'all feel good. I feel like you're a part of me and I'm a part of you. You know, I know we're pretending like we're separate, but we're really not. We're pretending like we're not one. That's why we did the whole separation thing, so that we could experience the variety, this infinite variety. But then we came up with stupid stuff like guilt and sin and all that crap to make us not feel good about who we really are. And then it's not the truth. And so it's keeping us from enjoying what we've created for our growth and our pleasure. So look at the beings that are around you, the quality of the beings that are around you. And then it says here, you will be unattached to these things, for you will not see them as ends in themselves, but merely as the proof that the great wisdom of love that underlies all things is connecting you to new forms and new contexts, because it knows that now love can flow through you more powerfully, more certainly, more maturely, and more wisely. In other words, when the love that we are can come through us, it's saying that you'll start to make different, brand new connections and brand new contexts, and you will start to feel love flowing through you more powerfully, and all of a sudden your life will take on an excitement and an adventure like nothing that you could have ever experienced. And don't you want to have an adventure?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I want an adventure. I'm going to see 2014 as, you know, adventure. It's going to be my year of adventure. I'm going to have adventures in consciousness, adventures in love. And when somebody really want to love me, I'm going to love them back. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to let the love come through. I'm going to stop protecting my heart all the time, you know, and not allowing myself to feel. I'm tired of that. So, I'm going to love you whether you like it or not. That's what I'm doing. On top of washing your back invisibly in the shower. We're just going to tell you that right now. Therefore, seek not to improve your life. This is deep. Seek not to improve your life by adding even 1 cubit unto your stature, but rather seek to improve your life by realizing your nature as love. How do you do that? How do you do that? Okay, here we go. You ready? How do you do it? It's going to be so simple, you might not want to hear it. I'm going to tell you that right now, because it's going to be something you can do right now. So there won't be no excuses. You still want to hear it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. How do you do that? How do you improve your life by realizing your nature is love? By recognizing that in each moment you are in the right place at the right time.
Wow.
What y'all think about that? Notice the reaction from everybody, like, is that it? You know? That's the best you can do. That's the best you can do. Think about that. That we're being told that we could be supported by everything in ways beyond our wildest imagination if we would just say, we're in the right place right now with each other at the right time. That we could actually go, we're actually in the right place in the right time. That right this moment we're doing exactly what's the best thing for us to be doing in this moment. There's nothing else that we could be doing that would be better for us than what we're doing in this moment, no matter what it is that we think we'd like to be doing right now. He says that's how you allow that miraculous love to come through that will start to support what we want. Here's the challenge, though, because my mind, my ego mind, is always telling me if this were different or that was different, then I'd be happy. If that was another person, another situation, another circumstance, if somebody spoke differently, if somebody acted differently, then I would be saved, then I would be happy. See, that's just the opposite of what we're being asked. It's saying, no, you're in the right place at the right time. And if you're listening to your inner voice, if there's something that needs to be changed, you'll be told what it is and you'll be told how to do it. So it doesn't mean you're going to be stuck in some situation. It actually means if you were to say, I'm in the right place at the right time, it would make you feel peace. And then in that peace that you're feeling, you could hear your own inner guidance. And then you'd be told what you needed to do in this moment if there was a change that needed to be made. So that's what I'm gonna really work on this week, telling myself that I'm in the right place at the right time. He says this is the moment in which love can be remembered, can be restored. This is the moment when love can be extended. This is the moment in which you can decide to listen only to what? The voice within you that knows how to extend love. Notice that as a teacher, I keep directing you within. Notice that? I'm not saying follow me, do what I say, I'm the leader. I keep saying within you, listening to the source within you, listening to the voice within you, learn how to listen to your inner guidance. That's what any true teacher is going to always do. They're going to always try to make themselves unnecessary because you're getting in touch with who you are from within. And so he says, beloved friends, in the way of knowing, the illusion that there is something to seek vanishes. The mind is liberated from the misperception that there is something going on wrong in the world. Woo! So, wouldn't your mind be liberated if you could let go of the idea that there's something going wrong in the world? Suppose everything that was happening was part of a divine greater plan for some type of healing beyond anything we could imagine. I don't know about you, but when I've cut myself, the scab wasn't exactly beautiful. So maybe we're looking at a gigantic scab right now. Something that doesn't always look beautiful when we look at all the things that are going on, but might be part of some kind of healing that we don't quite understand. What if that was what was happening? What if it was so much love and light coming into this plane right now that is bringing up all the insanity to be purged and released? Then is there really anything wrong? It's like when you get drunk and then you puke, you feel better, right? I know y'all know. Don't be like, drunk? Drink something? You know, it's like, come on, give me a break. So, but you know, when you do, you feel better, right? So suppose we're looking at a great big, worldwide, gigantic puke.
That's a lot of
That's what's going on in the world. It's a big puke going on. That there's a healing going on that we don't understand. And if there's some part for us to play in it, we'll be told what to do. And for you, that might be, who knows, some type of political activist, or whatever the thing is you feel like you need to do in the world. That might be part of what you're here to do, but you still wouldn't be looking at it as if anything is going wrong. You looking at it as you just want to continue to fulfill your part in the healing. See the difference? It's like I'm going to declare that I don't know what anything is for, and I'm going to declare that everything that's happening in the world is for my own best interest, even though I don't understand it. But if my inner voice tells me to protest fracking, then I'm going to go protest fracking. You see what I'm saying? Because that's what I'm being told to do. But that doesn't mean that the world is wrong. See, that's different. Because in the end, what really matters is what? That we extend in love. That's what really matters. And notice it didn't say we were creating love. And it didn't say we are here to make love. It said we're here to extend love. So I'm just allowing it to continue through me. I'm not sourcing it. That's why it's always fun when I hear people say stuff like they're going to make love. The Course says you can't make love, you can make fear. But you can't make love. You can extend love, but you can't make love. He says, you've heard me say, he says the mind is so liberated that the mind knows as long as it chooses love, as long as it follows the mysterious quiet voice within its own heart, that the choice your mind makes, the decisions your mind embraces, the actions your mind takes, and the thoughts that your mind thinks cannot help but serve in the further awakening of everyone and everything. So perfect is the love that embraces the whole of creation and God. So how do I allow my mind to be liberated? I allow my mind to be liberated because I know that if I choose love, that I follow my own mysterious quiet voice within my own heart, then I know that the choices I make, the decisions I embrace, the actions that I take, and the thoughts that I think will serve. So again, am I following the path of heart? Am I following my heart? Which is different from am I following what society says? Am I following my heart? It takes guts. It takes courage to do that. And we have it. So any questions, any comments about anything I've said so far? Throw it open one more time. Any ahas? Anybody have any ahas? Oh yeah, okay, I got that. Aha. Anybody? Anything?
Well, I do, but I can't exactly share it. But it's like I cannot believe how applicable tonight has been for my process.
Is that right?
It's crazy, amazing.
Good. Pass this around for me. Anybody else?
It seems in a lot of instances just keep your mouth shut, right?
If you really want to be happy, if you really want to have a peaceful life full of prosperity, joy, and love, you tend to find that it's in direct proportion to how much you keep your mouth shut. You're going to come to find out there's a really big connection between things
how do you
going
know
well.
when to speak up?
When you feel in peace. And
only when you're at peace.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Yeah.
The Course in Miracles teaches you listen, hear, and speak. You listen, hear. Notice that you listen. Some people think listen and hearing is the same thing. But it says you listen, right? Hear, speak. Now, most people are trying to formulate the next thing they're going to say when you're talking. They're not really listening to you. They're getting prepared for what they're going to say. But it's a trip when it's a trip when you're talking to somebody and you are listening to them. I mean, really listening. Because if you listen to people, they'll tell you everything you need to know. It's like we're not that mysterious. We just don't listen. It's like my sister who created that gathering last night with all my relatives and stuff. And she had done a lot of she's been a very loving presence my whole life in ways I couldn't even begin to tell you. And I was thinking about that. I said, wow, so many times people in our lives that are so loving to us, we never really let them know until they're gone. Then all of a sudden we go, oh, you know. So when I was over there, I got right in my sister's face, and I said, I said, look. I said, look at me right here. Look right here, like that. I did it like that, and I said, I love you. I love you. You're the greatest gift, one of the greatest gifts that God has ever given me in my whole life. I love you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for everything you've ever done for me. You're the biggest, one of the biggest blessings ever. I want you to hear this. I love you. And like her daughter was standing right next to me, and she was like, "Whoa!" I said, and she was kind of like tripping at what I was saying. And my sister said, looked around at her daughter and said, "Go get my camera. I want you to video this." So her daughter got her camera and came back. I said, "Okay, I'm gonna say it again. Hit it. I love you." And I did it again, you know, and because I realized that that's what I need to do. I need to let the people in my life know how I feel about them, and it's the little things like that that make all the difference in the world. And I realized, how could I have been so insane all my life to act like what I'm being asked to do, to let this love come through me that supports my experience, like it's something hard. It's asking me to appreciate the people I already love. That's crazy. How did I ever think that I was being asked to do something hard unless you are surrounded by people you don't like? That's when it's hard to love people, because you don't. You know, and so we think the spiritual path means all the people I don't like, let me try to figure out a way that I can really start liking them. And that's not the spiritual path. The spiritual path is being a conduit of love and appreciation to the people that you already know you appreciate and love, and then letting it overflow to the people that it looks like you are not feeling love for. You don't start out with the people you don't love and try to love them. You start with the people you do love, feel so much love that it just radiates to the people that you think you don't love. Because a happy person, just, you know, a person that's really happy is not holding grievances, because they're having such a good time. They don't have time to think about what somebody did to them when they was a kid. The people who are still worried about and hung up on what happened to them when they were children are people who are not happy now. So it just makes them think about what went wrong all the time. But if they would let themselves be happy, they wouldn't worry about they need to forgive their daddy for something that happened 15 years ago, because you wouldn't even be thinking about it, because you'd be experiencing so much joy. So if you're full of grievances and you got 90 million things to forgive, you need to start getting a life. You need to get a life, you know. I will, as soon as I can forgive that son of a bitch. Okay, that's it. No questions, no comments? Okay, wait a minute.
One.
Yes.
If there's one single thing that you've taught me over the years, that is it.
What is?
Extend love. Just do it now.
Yeah. And it teaches that love means appreciation. So if you substitute the word appreciation for love, you won't be afraid of love. Think about it for a minute. If I'm saying I love you, and you realize that I'm saying I appreciate you, nobody's really okay with that. It's the old definitions of love that makes us afraid. So I associate love with appreciation. So when I tell somebody I love them, I'm saying I appreciate you. And that's what I wanted my sister to hear, that I appreciated her. And I realized that that's not what people hear often. That you'd be surprised that people don't hear that a lot, especially from the people who are closest to them. You know, I got several hundred birthday wishes over Facebook, hundreds, and it was unbelievable. Some of the things that people were saying to me, and some of them even in languages I didn't even understand. You know, and I was like, wow, that's cool. Whatever the hell they just told me, that was some good stuff. But again, that kind of appreciation, you know what it does? It makes me want to give more. That's all it does. It just makes me want to give more. So you have heard me say to you many times that wherever you know a fearful thought, it can only mean that you are not thinking rightly. That's what I said earlier. That means you are not thinking with the mind of God, which is the same as saying you're not thinking with the mind of love, because God is just love. So if I'm afraid, okay, I feel afraid, I'm not thinking rightly, I'm not thinking with the mind of love. I feel angry, I'm not thinking rightly, I'm not thinking with the mind of love. I'm depressed, it means I'm not thinking rightly, it means I'm not thinking with the mind of love. Notice that I didn't go, I'm angry, what is it that person did to me? I went, I'm angry, so I'm not thinking right, which means I must not be thinking with the mind of love, because that's why the person showed up in the first place. It's because I'm not thinking with the mind of love. If $1 million were to come to you as Christ or the divine self, you would say, if $1 million came to you, you would say, this must be the perfect experience for me now. How can I extend love in this moment? I just won the 600 million mega, whatever that thing is, right? Mega millions. It's like, it could be $1 billion by Friday if nobody gets it tonight. And give me the bad ticket too. It's tomorrow. It's tomorrow.
No, it's tonight.
It's tonight. They pulled this tonight. Okay, well, this must be the perfect experience for me.
I got one, so I'll share it with you.
Would you share it with me if you want?
I will.
Oh, great. I'll watch your back. All right. Well, hey. This must be the perfect experience for me now. How can I extend love in this moment? Okay, so if you got $1 million, then you would go, this must be the perfect experience for me now. How can I extend love in this moment? And if the next day your wallet is perfectly empty, the enlightened mind of Christ, the enlightened mind of the divine self says, this must be the perfect event for me to be experienced now. How can I extend love in this moment? So in the days I'm broke, this must be the perfect event for me to be experiencing now. How can I extend love in this moment? If all of a sudden I got tons of money, this must be the perfect experience for me to be experiencing now. How can I extend love in this moment? If I meet the love of my life and I feel like I'm in the best relationship I could ever imagine, I would go, this must be the perfect event for me to be experiencing now. How can I extend love in this moment? If I'm lonely, feel like I haven't seen nobody in ages and nobody has been in my life and I haven't had any kind of relationship, I would go, this must be the perfect event for me to be experiencing now. How can I extend love in this moment? See the message in that? The changing can never be the source of peace. The world of form, whether it's dollars in a bank, houses, cars, people, friends, lovers, pets, plants, and all the rest, can never be the source of perfect freedom. These things arise and pass away and are like ephemeral shadows, wisps of foam dancing in an ocean. When your mind becomes identified with the form, the mind suffers. If I become identified with my body, then my mind suffers if my body doesn't look a certain way. My body isn't functioning in a certain way. As you get older, you begin to really see that it's important to not be so identified with your form, especially if you see it changing. And then you've been getting your sense of value from how you look, and your form starts to change, you're gonna freak out. And I'm beginning to fall more in love with people's minds than their bodies. Fancy that. That's a trip, isn't it? Because the body can only be a momentary distraction. Sooner or later you're gonna have to talk. You're gonna have to have a conversation, and so you'll find that mental stimulation becomes more and more and more important as you begin to wake up. You really want to have someone that you can really communicate with and talk with. You can have it all. In other words, you can have it all. It says, when the mind is liberated from attachment, the form is free, for it is identified only with content, or simply your mind is identified with the reality of love. So in any given moment, you have the power within you to experience the reality of love, unobstructed, unmediated, right now, without need of magical means, without need of the universe to arrange itself in any certain way whatsoever. So he's saying to us, we're being told that we could experience love right now if we wanted to, regardless of the situations that we think we're in, regardless of what we think we're feeling right now, regardless of what's happening right now. If we wanted to, we could all feel unobstructed, unblocked love for each other right now. Now, why don't I feel it? I know why. Because I'm not giving it. But I'll say, I don't feel you all's love. See, but the truth is, I'm not giving it. That's why I say I don't feel it. If I was giving it to you, I'd feel it. So when you say you don't feel somebody's love, the truth is, you're not feeling your love. You're not giving it. So you say they're not giving it. They could be really loving you, and you wouldn't even feel it. You wouldn't even know it. So why is it that I feel it with some people and not with other people? Well, there's some people I want to let the love come through me for. And there's some people I don't want to let the love come through me for. So those would be the ones I'll say I feel their love. Isn't that funny? Those would be the people I say I feel. Those are the ones I'm giving the love to. But I'm going to say, oh, I can feel, she's attracted to me. You know what I'm saying? I can tell she really turned on by me. No, I'm turned on by her. And I'm projecting that she's turned on by me. Now, if she's turning herself on and I'm turning myself on, then we'll say we're turning each other on. And then we want to connect. But it's really I'm turning myself on about her, she's turning herself on about me, and we happen to both be doing it at the same time, and we'll say we're really attracted to each other and we're in love with each other. But it's just we are both mutually allowing ourselves to feel love for each other or an attraction for each other. And if I'm feeling it for her, but she's not feeling it for me, if I'm feeling it for her and she's not feeling it for me, then I'll project on her that she's feeling it for me because I want it to be true. And I'll tell myself whatever is necessary to make myself think that she's really wanting me, even to the point that, I overlooked the restraining order. And, this is a challenge. This is a challenge. So, can we acknowledge ourselves for hearing this much tonight? I'm telling you. All right. Okay, Well, I'm going to do the financial expression of appreciation. I thank you for whatever you share. I'm a full-time teacher of this thing, and I trust the Holy Spirit is going to provide. And I appreciate you sharing with me. Also, those of you on the internet that are watching, thank you for all the wonderful, wonderful birthday wishes and stuff. And if you want to make a financial expression of appreciation because you find value in my classes, you can go to my website, earlpurdy.com. earlpurdy.com. And I'm also available for one-on-one sessions called Clarity Sessions, where I take whatever's going on in your life and I give you personal insight into how you can best deal with it in a way that will give you a lot of peace. And if you're open to astrology and numerology, I also use that also. So go to my website. It explains the one-on-one sessions I do on Skype, on the phone, and if you're local, in my office upstairs. So I'm here to be truly helpful. That's why I'm on the planet. There's nothing else to do anyway. You know what I'm saying? When you really start to get it, you realize there's nothing else to do anyway, but to try to be a means for more love to come on the planet. And you meet the coolest people. I mean, it's worth it. It's worth it. It's a good deal. Take a breath. There's a prayer that I said at the very beginning. I'm going to say over and over again. You need do nothing. You need do nothing. And it means that you actively learn and master the art of finding a space within you in which you're willing to allow your own inner voice you are eternally connected to your source. So you're going to let it be a vehicle through which you receive your guidance. You want to follow the path with heart. You want to follow the path with heart, not the path that's based on what's going to make you necessarily feel the most secure. But you don't want to move in the direction of your fear. You want to move in the direction of your peace.
You've seen the difference and it's getting better all the time. There's nothing you and I won't do. I'll stop the world and melt with you.
Love is the way I walk in gratitude. Love is the way I walk in gratitude. Love is the way I walk in gratitude. Love is the way we walk in gratitude.
The future's open wide. I'll stop the world and melt with you. You've seen the difference, and it's getting better all the time. There's nothing you and I won't do, babe. I'll stop the world and melt with you.
Hey, I'll stop the world and melt with you.
I'll stop the world and melt with you.
We're going to stop the world. We're going to melt with each other.
I'll stop the world and melt with you.
Love is the way I walk in gratitude. Love is the way I walk in gratitude. Love is the way we walk in gratitude. Love is the way. So that's going to be what we're going to be doing this holiday. We're going to try to let go of our scripts. We're going to try to free everybody around us by not trying to get them to act out our script necessarily. And when we feel angry and upset, we're going to tell ourselves, I must not be thinking right now. So I'm just going to breathe and shut my mouth. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to breathe. And that's it. That's what we're going to do. All right. Appreciate y'all. Thank you for coming out. Hugs are available. Have a wonderful Christmas. New Year, if I don't see you before then, in 2014. We're going to see what we do. All right? Cool.